My current situation is that I have just entered into my spring break for school, which means that I will have 1 week where I do not have a whole lot to do, you know. I do have my track practices, which means I'll have around 2 hours of exercising and being with my friends, you know, and the reason why I'm making this video is that my previous breaks have been very unproductive, and the worst part is that they're both unproductive and they also aren't even fun. Um, so I'm gonna brainstorm here live how I can make my spring break better this time. One of the things that I do struggle with is not having that sort of that kind of social connection. I explained it in that one video where I just had like a black screen and I was like tweaking out in the freaking darkness about kind of the social isolation. Dude, for some reason, every single time I try and record these videos, my nose ends up being plugged. Plugged? I tried to say plugged and clogged at the same time. That's why that happened. But yeah, whatever. Who cares? But let me see. These videos are partially for my own accountability, you know? Maybe when I have another spring break or another break, I can go back to this and think, okay, I'm gonna do what I said in this video and not do what I said to not do, you know? And maybe it can be like that for you guys too, so we'll see. But yeah, just the social kind of decline, social isolation. And I think I'll try and I've talked to one of my friends about setting up a couple hikes, which should be very nice, you know, because I feel to some degree that the idea of just sitting on your ass and fucking doing nothing, you know, just like eating a bowl of ice cream and like playing Terraria or some shit, I think it's very romanticized. Um, part like kind of just by the general like my peers and everything, because it's what you think you want because you're, overworked to some degree. But what people like realize once they do just like sit on their ass and do nothing when they do have the freedom to do so is that it just does not feel good. And even in the present moment, it doesn't feel that good, you know? I remember that one TED talk that one dude made on procrastination, where he talked about when you're procrastinating on something and you decide to just play video games or have fun doing something while in the back of your mind knowing that you should be doing something else. He calls it the dark playground because you know that you should be doing something and that guilt is just in the back of your mind just like stewing back there, and then once you're done doing that shit you're just like, yeah, it wasn't worth it. And honestly, I think this applies even when you have like a shit ton of free time. You know, I mean, I think it's different. Maybe if you go on a vacation, you know, if you go and explore places and you go and meet friends and you go actually, you know, make some social change and make memories, then it's fun. But if you just sit and play video games and watch YouTube, and once the period of time is over and you cannot recall anything a week from then, it's just useless, you know? So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to be unproductive, but I think you can have some sort of productive, unproductive time, if that makes sense. Which is instead of sitting on your ass and playing video games, it's going out into the world and exploring. You know, doing something that is both gratifying and improving of your life. I mean, I did mention it in the black screen video that partially the reason why I can't quite go out is because I'm still 16 and I don't have my license just yet, so I can't just go out and drive a car on my own and do whatever I want, you know. Um but I think that a lot of it that also can be used as an excuse because I do have friends online. Um, and one of the things that I can do actually is make these videos because even though the interaction is parasocial, it's so much better than just sitting around and doing nothing, you know? And also, one of the things about social isolation is that, at least for me, it just like any period of time trying to socialize after I have just sat on my ass and done nothing the entire day, like it's hard for me to even say coherent sentences. Like I think that last week I had a track meet. It's not just coherent sentences, it's focus in general. And I hadn't done anything for the entire day. Or actually, rather, I woke up probably around 8, and then I kind of just sat and watched YouTube for a few hours, and then about 12 I needed to leave to go to my meet. And since I'm practicing driving, I ended up driving over there, with my mom and the passenger. And I really wanted to focus, because you're driving a car, and it's quite dangerous at times. And I genuinely just could not focus very well because I had done nothing kind of mentally strengthening or mental focus maintaining, per se, that day. And I was like driving there, and I was like, I want to focus right now, but my brain just feels like mush. And that is something that I just hate to have, because it feels a little bit difficult to get rid of. I mean, I think it can be actually, that's completely false. It can be getting what do I even say there? It can be getting rid of, whatever. You can get rid of it by going outside and actually doing something engaging. But let me move away from this whole like fun and social life thing and move more towards the productive time. Because you can try and drown yourself with work to try and just have something to do during all of your free time, but something else that's kind of romanticized in, especially in this, hyper masculine, self improvement culture, is to just isolate yourself and just work, work, work all day. You go on this lonely chapter, and you just have to work, and you just have to lock in, and that's just how it's got to be. And I think that is true to some degree, but when you actually have a day, where it is the opposite of on your ass and doing nothing and playing video games, except that you're still sitting on your ass and just working on, your business, or just whatever kind of work you need to do, whether it be school or your own personal goals. I mean, maybe if it's something that you're very passionate about, then it can be very engaging. But for me, I cannot work on something straight for more than like a few hours without my brain starting to just feel like mush. And something that I've learned is that life is really about balance. If you're gonna have a day where you work really hard, then that's great. But maybe instead of just waking up at 11 a.m. and then just like working for 5 hours, and then you just like feel like complete shit, maybe you wake up at 6 in the morning, and then you work focused until 8:30. And then once it hits 8:30, maybe you go for a drive and you go to the park or something. You just do something, you go outside, so that your brain actually receives some other form of input than just, sitting on your ass and staring at your screen. This applies a lot to like a business perspective, like a home entrepreneurship perspective, where although you are doing very productive work, you are still inherently sitting on your ass and staring at a screen, which is the same thing that you would do if you were watching YouTube or playing video games, you know? So I think that with that specific type of work, it is very important to have time where you actually go outside and touch grass. I've been recording for 11 minutes. This is like a new thing for this channel. I mean, I am focusing less on the kind of viewer experience with the videos and everything, which sounds a little bit backwards, because of course you should be thinking about your viewers, but go to my last video and read the reply I had to Vorosh. That pretty much sums up why I'm trying to think a little bit less about the viewer and everything, because when I think this isn't what the video is about, but when I think too much about you watching the video right now, um I kind of I alter the point that I'm making too much to like the expectations of you and everything. So much to a point where I lose my coherence, and the message that I'm trying to give does not have very much congruence to how it was in here, you know. But let's move on. What else makes my spring breaks suck that I can improve? Oh, diet. Yeah, that's one of them. Of course, another one of those things that's like kind of romanticized is, oh, you just eat whatever you want. Yeah, so great. I mean, I think one person posted that like a meme one time. I'm sure multiple people have done this, but they say essentially, once you grow up into becoming an adult and you get your own place and you realize, oh, I can just go to the store and I can buy ice cream now and I can do whatever I want. And then you do go home, or you do go to the store and you buy the ice cream, then you go home and you're just eating it and eating it. And then you realize, there's a reason why my parents didn't let me do this, And that's just because it really doesn't feel good. It's just one of the things that I kind of hate about this culture of saying to enjoy yourself and be pleasurable and everything is that while I think it is good to achieve some sort of balance and to like sometimes let me rephrase this. I don't think that you should necessarily be completely restrictive of yourself to having, sweets and doing other forms of instant gratification that you like to do. I don't think that you should restrict yourself from that because then when, you really just like want to take yourself less seriously for a little bit, you can and it's fine. You're not gonna regret when you and your friends were at the table and one of them had ice cream and then you kind of wanted like a scoop of it, but like you're on your diet. Like that is good in some cases, but just setting like a I will never do this again, that can be um a little bit malignant in your life. Not always, but back to the main point I was making. I don't think it's good to necessarily restrict yourself entirely from doing these instant gratification habits, but rather, I don't think that you should indulge in them just because other people say so, and I don't think that you can do them when you actually know that you shouldn't be doing them and then feel good. Because whenever I'm on a diet, or honestly, just in general, because I don't like to eat crappy food because I logically know that it isn't good for me. Like, this is probably kind of dumb, but I'll like think about eating some sort of ice cream or something, and I'll think like, nah, maybe this will make me live like two days less longer. I don't know. Tell me in the comments if you guys think that too. But what happens when I know that something isn't good for my health in any sort of way, and I do it with the justification that other people say of, oh, you should enjoy yourself and you should let yourself go every now and again. It doesn't feel good. And the thing is, it's a net negative versus a net positive. That's one of the things that people, I feel like, could talk about more when it comes to delayed gratification, is that when you live a life where you are passionately doing what you want to do, where you are working on your business and you are working hard and diligently, the life quality that you have, like the life satisfaction, it improves a lot as well. And if you live a life where you aren't satisfied with what you're doing, but you're also indulging in instant gratification and everything, the life quality then, it's not even that like, oh, I'm enjoying myself. It feels worse. Like, it's not that like you can say that it's more difficult to live a life where you go into business and entrepreneurship and you want to be very successful and have high achievements and everything. But it's also just, you may work harder, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. And on the inverse, it is not worth it to just do things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, you know? Because people give all of these justifications about why you should, enjoy yourself, but you can enjoy yourself while working hard, you know? And that's how it should be. That's just how it should be, you know? It's good to have instant gratification every now and again, but when you're doing it at a time that you don't want to be doing it, you're eating ice cream and you're thinking, at least I think, okay, this is making my taste buds feel good for a few seconds, and then it's decreasing my health, and then I eat more of it and it makes my taste buds feel good. And then 20 minutes after I've eaten all of the ice cream, I do not feel so great. Especially if you're somebody who's lactose intolerant, that wouldn't feel so great. And it's just a net negative. Yeah, a lot of things in life are about balance. And this spring break, to improve it, I'm just going to make sure that I end up, going outside and doing things, socializing. I'm going to make sure that I do work hard, because if I do absolutely nothing, then my overall satisfaction will be decreased, and thus I will, on a net level, I will be less happy in my mind if I just do nothing that I want, And a life where you accomplish what you want to accomplish is just objectively better. I mean, of course, free will, everybody can do whatever they want. I don't necessarily care, because it's your life, you do what you want, but I genuinely feel so much better when I achieve more things. It's not just that I'm some kid who watched Hamza one day and he's like, "Oh, I need to improve in all these things because I need to be a giga chat and an alpha male." Is that when I don't do those habits, regardless of what fucking YouTubers I'm watching, dogs are barking. I just feel worse, literally. I've gone on to, calls with my friends on Discord and played Fortnite, and it's not that I think it's cringe or whatever. I just genuinely holy sorry about that. As I was saying, it's not necessarily that I think that it's like cringe to play video games with my friends and stuff, but it's that when I'm playing with them, I genuinely am not enjoying it that much. Partially because I am not very experienced at those games and I am not that good. I'm better at like Team Fortress 2 and shit than Fortnite. But it's just one of the things where my life quality is genuinely better when I refrain from instant gratification. And the justifications that people come up with against that are oftentimes just false. I keep saying. I was editing this video and I realized how many times I say, and oh my god, I say it so many times. I can't be bothered to put a counter, but oh my Jesus Christ, I say it so many times. I think that the main messages of this video were summed up well enough, and if you enjoyed this video, then I appreciate it. If you hated this video, then I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your day or night or evening or whatever. Have a good one.